work on automatic video editing for sensor-rich videos, which was done in collaboration with my supervisor, Dr. Faisal Qureshi. So I'm going to start this off a bit differently with sort of a story that gives the motivation behind my work. So one day my supervisor was outside recording his son playing soccer, and he was using a smartphone. So his son kicked the ball at him, and he had to drop his smartphone to grab the ball. So he threw the ball back to his son, and he walked over and picked up his phone, and it was still recording. So he just continued on recording. Now, some of you might have realized a problem right now, but if we actually look at the video that he recorded at this point, you'll see that he has a segment where his son's playing, he's got a bad segment of the sky or something, and then another segment where his son's playing. So just keep this in mind. Now, moving on, he records a bit more, the dog comes out and plays, etc., but then his wife tells him to bring the dog in. So he just puts the phone in his pocket, doesn't bother to pause it, goes and takes the dog in the house, comes back, finishes off his recording. So in the end, he's left with a video that looks sort of like this, right? You've got a good segment, you got a bad segment of the sky. You got a good segment, you got a bad segment of his pocket. And then finally a good segment. So this is a fairly common scenario now. We have camera-enabled mobile devices everywhere, storage is cheap, so we end up with a bunch of raw, unedited videos everywhere. And these all have varying amounts of desirable and undesirable segments, of course. So what my supervisor wanted, and what I think a lot of us want, is an easy way to remove these segments in an efficient manner. So a possible solution is vision-based methods, of course. So something like optical flow, or for that one, maybe face detection. But these are computationally expensive, and the results can often be difficult to interpret. For example, the face detection wouldn't work if his son's facing away from the camera. Face detection might consider a tree a face, etc. So we were in his office thinking about a way we could do this better, and thinking about sort of the device that was being used for recording, a smartphone. And we realized that there's a very underutilized feature of the smartphone that could be helpful, and that's the sensors. So finally coming around to what our work is. We try to use hardware sensor data that we capture alongside a video to locate and remove undesirable segments of a video in an efficient manner. So here's sort of the type of data that we work with in our method. And you'll see at the top some sample frames from a video, and then you'll see some plots of accelerometer data captured during the scenario. So there's magnitude and then the raw accelerometer readings. So just by looking at the magnitude data, you can sort of already pick out where some important events might have occurred. So you'll see an initial spike where he dropped the phone. You'll see another spike where he picks up the phone. You'll see another spike when he puts it in his pocket. You see when he's walking, there's sort of a higher level of motion. And then finally you see it resumes to normal when he resumes recording. And the same occurs with the raw Z accelerometer, right? You can sort of make out a very low value when it's facing down towards the ground, lying on the ground. So this is what we do for our method. We try to look at this sensor data, analyze it, and use that to remove these bad segments. Now, we also compute some visual features over our videos. These were originally used for comparison between the sensor-based methods to make sure that we can actually get relevant data from the sensor-based methods. So some of the things we compute are, for instance, the focus of a frame. We do face detection clustering across a video, and also optical flow. So originally our goal was to do editing with purely just sensor data. But during our comparisons, we realized that combinations of sensor and visual data could also be useful. I won't go into too much detail about all the possibilities. I'll just give one quick example, and that's accelerometer and optical flow. So for accelerometer, I'm talking about the magnitude data, and optical flow, it's going to be the mean optical flow vector for a given frame. So basically, if you see motion being exhibited just by optical flow, but nothing being suggested by the accelerometer, then that suggests that scene motion is occurring, right? So the camera's not moving. Any motion in the video is probably from a person or an object moving through the video. However, if you see both accelerometer and optical flow, that suggests that the camera's moving and that motion is going to be visible in the final video. So that generally sums up our work. If you want to know more, come by poster C4. That's what it looks like, and thank you.